that well, first of all, the overlay is wrong because Radiant and Dire are like
Yeah,
in
cut a
different places
little.
from where the teams are because it's all
Yeah,
pick, I think.
it
But
is.
because it is all pick, I'm going to assume that no one really knows what they should be doing unless this is a five stack. Do you know if this is?
I doubt it. Highly doubt it. But
Lion.
sometimes we see some counter picks. Sometimes there's things
Mhm.
of significance to talk about. But yeah, I mean, I've seen the ones where they're unranked, and I just skip the drafts. But with the ranked all picks, since there's a little bit of a timing window in between, I usually just give the draft a little bit of thought. So hopefully we do. I mean, we haven't seen Spectre OD first phase, so maybe these people have some sort of plan in mind. We'll see what ends up happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, either way, a couple of shout outs to all you guys today. This is Delicious Judicious's game, so shout out to you. Thank you for the contribution from Reddit, and we've got a couple of games coming up after
But
this.
who is that though?
I mean, he's the man. That's who he is.
No, who is that in here?
He has not told me, so I've given the option to tell me or not tell
Ah.
me who your hero is in the game. So I kind of like it better when it's a little ambiguous. Some players are very obvious because they had like the game of their lives and they'd like a cast, but for this time it seems like we're not going to be privy to that. So hopefully we don't flame him too hard.
Oh, I'm gonna flame everyone equally. Cause like the only reason I don't flame like super actively when I'm casting like, the teams that I usually
We're getting
cast
paid.
is no, is because like I can be called out on that and then like I'm sure there's some like higher level reasoning. But with this, I'm going to assume that everyone is dumb as bricks. And I'm
Right,
sure that's
right.
wrong. I don't know the MMR of these guys. I know nothing about them, but I know that Legion Commander is going to the jungle,
That's
and
for
that
sure.
already is worthy of flame. But I also know that Arc Warden is a hero that I don't know what any of his skills are called. I just know what they do. So
I got him down pat pretty good.
he makes ghosts,
Yeah,
and that's
he's.
it.
I mean, for first pick material, he must be played fairly often by this person. So he's really fun to watch at times, especially if he's able to get up a couple of rapiers. So we'll see how that ends up panning out. For now, it seems like the scaling aside from the Arc Warden is a little bit lacking on the Radiant side. So we'll see what that fifth pick is. It's probably going to be more than likely for that safe lane. But yeah, Arc Warden, cancerous, dare I say?
Um, I think you could make the argument for needing chemo on the Arc Warden just because at a certain point, like for the first 10 minutes, you're playing up against Arc Warden, and then once he gets his hand of Midas, he kind of
Yeah.
like disappears.
Yeah.
And then you occasionally see those clones pop up, and then you're like, oh, well, he's just Arc Warden. And then he has like six slots, and you're like, what the fuck happened?
And there's
How
a
did
thing
that
with a
happen?
rapier, but he
So,
never drops the rapier. It's
Necro books also.
terrible. It's just terrible. 100% evasion. Why not? But he is definitely a feast or famine pick, and he's considerably high in terms of skill cap. So we'll see how well he can get punished here. There's a couple heroes that can catch him out already in the Legion, the Puck and the Wind Ranger. So if he's not diligent about keeping his main hero out of vision, he could have a rough time. But either way, both lineups look a little bit pubby. CK pickup is an interesting one. There is little potential to roam early on. So, I mean, the Earthshaker will be towards that mid lane, but Puck feels very elusive towards that. So I feel like more than likely it'll be this defensive try around the CK. And yeah, it's going to be a Tide going to be facing them up over in the off lane. So we'll see how they fare. But either way, going to jump into this one, guys. It's Delicious Judicious.
Prepare for battle.
Game from Reddit. Not sure who he is. So hopefully he plays well. And generally speaking, but the most fun thing I think about these games is that some of the names are just ridiculous, but I'm going to take the Radiant side for that reason. Lafro Egg is going to pick up the line. We're going to have basic 5 or basics on the Arc Warden. Poetic Justice on the CK. That's going to leave Wombo Combo aptly named on the Earthshaker. And finally, of course, last but not least, Burnt Nipples, member of Dick Squad on the Queen of Pain.
Dude, I can't wait for Dick Squad to get into the next international. Can we pause the game when your clock is on 30
Sure,
up top?
sure.
I think we're like a little bit out of sync. So yeah, I'm gonna do the same. That's gonna be in 10 seconds for me. You know what? I'm not gonna introduce them because I want to hit this pause button correctly because whenever I go down here, the screen moves down and it's really fucking
Yes.
annoying.
It is annoying. It is. You
All right,
should be able to
I'm
lock it.
paused on 30.
Yeah, as am I. So you
Okay,
count me down.
3, 2, 1, unpause.
Nice.
All right, so we got everyone on the dire side. We have this scum-sucking jungling Legion commander, who played by Midori. Tante is on the Wind Ranger. On bottom lane, Boots first.
Yeah, seems like the offlane.
Well, we got a supporting Tide, played by some guy who really has some fun with those characters. For SCE,
He's
Dazzle,
clearly
Warden's
very
Puck.
elite.
We got a brawl as well. Arc Warden getting beaten down by Poison Touch level 1. Dazzle's gonna regret that very quickly
Flux,
because he's
he's
slowed
dead.
to a crawl, taking so much damage. He's gonna be first blood for sure. That's 1 for burnt nipples. Dick Squad chalking it up. That should be it.
Or SCE gonna take a spill there. Yeah, Flux at level 1, very good near the runes. So you really want to be grouped up as a unit if you're gonna contest runes against the Arc Warden, and they'll make him pay. They also make the Puck expend an orb and a little bit of his regen. So nice early win for that Radiant side. But either way, Fisher Block comes out as well, and it looks like the CK is gonna take towards the off lane. They're gonna give Arc Warden a little bit of farm priority here. The Fisher Block comes out from the Earthshaker as well, just to secure the lane equilibrium is in this Chaos Knight's favor.
Is there any advantage to having Dazzle and Wind Ranger down here as opposed to, top and bottom lane swapped? I mean, if you just look at how the lanes landed, it obviously will be better to have these heroes up against the Chaos Knight, just being able to poke him 24/7. And even if they do fissure you and Chaos Bolt you and whatever, you should be able to be just fine once you get to level 2 on Dazzle. Like, you just won't die up against those heroes once you have Wind Run and Grave or Shadow Wave. But in this lane setup, the Tidehunter, he is probably going to survive as well, but there's no advantage to this, where I think there would definitely be an advantage just having the more traditional Tidehunter on bottom lane and Wind Ranger up towards top lane, maybe with something non-boots.
Yeah, I think they wanted to apply pressure to the CK. Perhaps that was the idea. Me giving pubbers credit for next level thinking is maybe a little bit brash, but it seems like maybe the CK just going to the offlane caught them a bit off guard. And it being dual melee, at least, as you mentioned, the Tide will be able to soak up quite a bit. Not apply pressure necessarily, but soak up quite a bit. And pretty standard, a little bit of throwback mid lane matchup with the Queen of Pain versus the Puck. And I think the Wind Ranger will farm, but yeah, as you mentioned, the Arc Warden should be fine to do so as well, and that this lane is not going to apply all that much pressure. And with the Radiant jungle advantage, being able to pull and whatnot, maybe the Wind Ranger loses out a bit. So it's more odd to me to see the Dazzle alongside the Wind Ranger than just to see the Wind Ranger in the offlane. Maybe the Dazzle with the Tide could get something done. By the rune, they're going to be a Hex onto Bardens, and the rune was secured by the line. He's going to get the Impale off, but he's probably going to go down for this. Lafro is going to get connected on by that Illusory Orb. One last right click, and the Puck will not secure that rune, but didn't have his bottle yet. He'll secure the kill, and that'll give him enough for the bottle. So when all is said and done, good means to an end for the Puck in the mid lane.
Yeah, it's all good for the Puck. Just watching his matchup versus the Queen of Pain a little bit, there were a lot of aggressively traded hits, a couple of missed phase shifts on the dagger, so I'm not entirely sure how this lane is going to pan out from here on out, especially since Queen of Pain did get that early gold from that kill, and she's actually gone for 2 points in Shadow Strike versus a Puck. In these situations, again, I'm not really sure what level of game we're watching, at least not yet. It seems like these players are at least somewhat competent. Shadow Strike is not something you really want to have really at all versus Puck, just because it's so freaking easy to dodge. Getting 2 points is quite a heavy investment.
Yeah, it's a lane dominating skill to say the least, and yeah, against the Puck it's a little bit curious. The Scream of Pain is going to give you your most early game potential early on, and you see it right there with the easy phase shift dodge. But going to throw an orb back, and yeah, it's going to hurt her rotations a little bit here after not having the Scream of Pain leveled up as much as it could be possibly. So, but other than that, it looks like the Radiant are doing well in all 3 lanes in terms of CS. The CK as well, doing good in the off lane, and the Tidehunter has been starved out, but it has 4 levels of experience. Meanwhile, bot lane, they are going to find out. The Wind Ranger, she has no mana, or has used the Wind Run. One last right click from the Lion will finish her off. And Flux has been. I'm not sure if the dire side quite understand the mechanic of the spell yet, but a couple of heroes now caught out in the Flux, and level 3 is going to secure her death there. So a couple kills go the Radiant's way, and Arc Warden been part of both. So good early start for this Arc Warden.
the Dazzle was also like in the trees, which
Yeah.
I could only assume was because he thought that he was the target of the gank. So he was like, "Oh shit, screw this! I'm gonna go in and hide over in the side." And Wind Ranger wasn't even in range to heal up towards top. Tide is starting to realize that he's really good up against Earthshaker.
Two
because
melee
he gets
heroes in
tied
general.
once, that's it. So you just run at the Earthshaker, hit him with your anchor, and then that's it. But then we have Wind Ranger actually rotating. I said earlier this is like what it should have been, but at this point there's no real reason to do this, especially when Lion is going to follow her. Poetic Justice, they can actually jump on the Wind Ranger pretty easily here as long as they land all their spells correctly, namely wall somewhat with a fissure and don't overlap too much, because the Tidehunter, although he is bulky as hell, he actually doesn't do that much damage up against heroes that we see. So there's the Spike, and the Hex, a little bit layered there, and the Fissure even more layered. Chaos Bolt is going to come out, however, she is going to evade a couple of those right clicks. I don't think she's actually going to survive, especially when she's pulled back in by the Reality Rift. Man, I love me some CK, and that is pretty much why.
Yeah, and he definitely needs some momentum early on in this hero. He doesn't have the greatest farming capability, even with the change to Chaos Strike, adding the little bit of minus armor there. So really nice to get him off his feet with a kill there. He's also pretty much at parity with CS and all the other cores in the game. The only one eclipsing him at this point is the jungle free farm Midori Legion Commander, as we tend to see in the pubs. So yeah, things looking up for the Radiant side thus far, even winning their mid lane matchup 23-7 to the 14-4 Queen of Pain Puck respectively. And they're going to see Burnt Nipples pop a haste ring now. He has a rotation in from the Lion as well, and the Puck is a little bit low on mana, but it looks like a little bit of a miscommunication coming out from these two, and the Queen of Pain was late to the party. She's going to expend her coil, and the Puck will expend her coil. A couple more right clicks, the Fairy Fire will keep the Queen of Pain in healthy standing, and they will bring down the Puck. So a little bit of late reaction from Burn Nipples, maybe just trying not to reveal the gank all that much. It was nighttime though, and the Lion was able to get in range well. So rotations from Lafroig have been successful in every single lane thus far. So if he had that quest to kill someone in each lane, he's looking good.
Dude, someone better at the end of this game ask the other team for help on a quest, because that is the mark of a good sportsman right there. If you give the enemy team their quest. While that was happening, I was watching bottom lane actually. The Dazzle was just on bottom by himself with no support anywhere nearby. Up towards top, they're going to go in for the Tidehunter, but I don't think they can actually do this. Tidehunter might just kill them both right now if he just gets a lucky Kraken Shell proc. Couple of Anchor Smashes. Wombo combo for sure is in danger of dying. Tidehunter now realizes it, and he's going to not actually get the kill, slightly out of range, but they can't kill him. Like, this is...
Yeah.
It can't be done, man. It's actually impossible. But Arc Warden, yeah, just fluxed the Dazzle, made a copy, and then just beat him down.
Oh,
And
top
they're
lane
still going for
Reality
this
Rift.
Tidehunter, but he's taking like 10 damage, and the Fissure misses!
He has stick charges as well.
He can kill him. Poetic
Yeah,
Justice is
damage
dead.
reduction is there. All the stick charges from the CK first, but he gets him down, and now the Earthshaker probably going to go too far for this. Does he have a Fissure? He will not for another 30 mana. Has a Clarity ticking away, but it'll be a little while. And yeah, he's now out of range. But yeah, probably could have chased with the units underneath the tower. He had a level 2 Fissure, so definitely would have killed the Tide off. But Autumn, yeah, going in onto the Puck, who's rotating over, but he'll be the first to go down as the Replicate comes out for basics. And basics seems to be pretty comfortable on this hero. He did first phase pick it up, so the second time he will narrowly escape death. 2-0-3 now on the Arc Warden, 7-2, 8 minutes in. The Radiant starting to widen the gap early on.
I'm going to make a prediction and say Basics is the person who requested
Perhaps.
this game.
Perhaps.
It just seems like that. He twice now caught the Dazzle off guard, and it's a Dazzle who, like, by no means should be on this bottom lane anywhere near the creep wave going up against Arc Warden. You die to it once, maybe because you're like unfamiliar with Flux's range or something like that. And that's fine, you know, whatever, your support dies, but dying to it like, well, total 3 times now, that should be completely avoidable. So yeah, this Dazzle, I'm not really convinced at his playstyle and his skilling choice at that. Like, you're in an offlane by yourself and you decide to stay there by yourself and max out Poison Touch up against an Arc Warden. That's never, ever going to work. So, yeah, this Dazzle kind of giving a big bump to the Arc Warden. Now he has the Hand of Midas. Now he has, well, the double Hand of Midas. One for each hand.
Easy. And yeah, we'll TP in towards that mid lane just to ensure that Bardens won't push it in too hard. And Dazzle up near the top lane. We'll drop a ward down, but it's in sentry range for the Radiant once they walk by this, so they can drop that little bit of intel that the Dire have added to their arsenal. Sonic Wave back off of cooldown now.
Bot.
Yeah.
Tante jumped by a lion
Flux once
and
again.
fluxed.
They are going to have enough to bring her down with the flux ticking, it feels. A couple more right clicks needed. 3 seconds until the impale, but actually, Lafroig actually looking for the right click rather than just walking him down for the impale. And the Wind Ranger should be able to get away. She is at this point, but the rotations have been really good from the Lion and the Arc Warden. They've done very well as a tandem, and now Finger of Death is available for the Lion. So the next time they go in, yeah, just barely caught the edge of that. I was watching him, but had the screen a little bit low, and yeah, just did pick up the finger, and will put it to use immediately. So Legion Commander still totally AFK, planning on carrying this game, but is going to be encroached upon by Burnt Nipples as well as Wombo Combo. Gets the blink out though, sub 10-minute blink as you would expect coming out of the jungle, and good reaction time there. Has the duel available if she wants to re-engage here, and has her puck on the low ground. Barden's waiting for something, but it being daytime, Queen of Pain certainly caught a glimpse of that puck there, and they will rotate back out to the west.
What are your thoughts on this Arc Warden's skill build? He had 3-3-1 earlier when he was trying to go for that Wind Ranger kill, and he just didn't use the magnetic field at all. Flux maxed out could have gone there, but they're going to try to go for Tidehunter once again. They have all these stuns, no finger though, and I'm pretty sure Tidehunter going to turn around and kill them all, especially since he's Grave, so he just won't die right now. Wombo Combo dropping low. They'll throw a Poison Touch, but again, it's a Poison Touch. It's not going to do that much. Tidehunter's going to walk out of here. Chaos Bolt, 3 second stun, not that much damage. They probably would have liked the damage over the stun duration, and he's going to actually crack and shell the Fissure and walk out of there. Tidehunter is a fair and balanced. Oh, this is going to kill him. Never mind. Finally got him, but man, I'm sure glad his Dazzle picked up Poison Touch over something useful.
Yeah, they ended up killing the Arc Warden main hero on the bot lane as well in the meantime, and I'm going to hazard a guess that the Dazzle is not the submitter at this point. That Grave was just questionable to say the least.
Right, just like surprisingly tanky, right? So
yeah.
It's like, might as well save him.
Right after the Ravage, felt a little weird. But they do get the tier 1 bottom, and Basics is going to TP into a little bit of danger, but it's only with his Replicate at this point. And he'll get a Flux off, but not really going to matter all that much. He'll drop the Magnetic Field, look to get a little bit extra right click, bring on that Siege, and continue to farm away. In terms of his skill build, I don't mind not skilling up Spark Wraith at all until you really start to queue up the split push. I feel like it's probably most effective when you can drop it in TP spots once you're pushing into towers. And it is a good nuke early on. It's good near the runes, but it's pretty unreliable unless you're able to kind of have some sort of positioning tool like a Force Staff or a grip from like an Earth Spirit or something like that. So I don't mind not scaling up the Spark Wraith, and I feel like that's fairly standard. Bardens is going to get caught with a Hot Hex, and they are going to duel up the Lion. In the meantime, in the river, they get him off. And now the Queen of Pain walks into the coil as well. Gets a Sonic Wave off into 2, but she has no follow-up. And they are going to orb forward, kill her, even with the Fairy Fire. Meanwhile, Tidehunter, what else is new? Duking it out with Basics. He's going to get beat in the Magnetic Field. He ends up dying. His Replicate is still alive. He'll get the Midas off with the Replicate. The Flux is there onto the Tidehunter as well, but he'll Kraken that off. Now he gets the Gush off onto the CK, and the Orb is actually going to whiff. But he does connect with the Waning Rift, so couple of kills, and ends up being a really good trade. 5 heroes dying if you include the early duel on the Lion in the river for the Radiant side. All of a sudden was 7-2, tied up 9-9. Hex comes through onto Midori now, but now the Illusory Orb is going to come through as well. The Finger is there, but the press the attack, keeping the Legion Commander alive. Shackle's not going to latch. Barden's going to be able to walk away, though. He gets Shadow Waved up a little bit. Blink out from the Legion Commander. Weave is going to connect onto 4 allied heroes for the Dazzle. And they are going to look to turn as the Power Shot comes through onto the Earthshaker. He's looking for an Echo, but he gets shackled up. Ravage now comes through a couple. Big Echo Slam onto 3. There's no follow-up, though. It's an easy duel win for Midori. And now the Queen of Pain a little bit too late to the fray, joining it. It looks like they're just feeding one by one from the Radiant side, but the Dazzle or the Lion will back out. The Shackle is going to latch. Chaos Strike comes through onto the puck. They get the stun off onto the puck as well. The Shadow Wave will not be enough to heal him off. Midori, meanwhile, cleans up the Lion. Flux is there onto the Wind Ranger. She has no Wind Run. There is a Grave, though, a nicely placed one this time from the Dazzle, and they'll kill off the Queen of Pain in the meantime. Basics running forward in the Magnetic Field will find the Wind Ranger. Now Tidehunter trying to walk it off. Will be able to stick up. Turns around with the Anchor Smash. Going to reduce their damage. Trying to bring down the Replicate for whatever reason, but he will end up dying. Armlet was there for the CK to keep him safe, and all in all, a very messy fight there mid lane. Fight recap is showing 4 for 2. Felt like there was a couple more deaths in there, but Beneficiaries big on the CK and the Arc Warden, about 1,000 golden experience each, 1,500 experience going the CK's way in that little skirmish.
CK completely dodged the Ravage. The coil only connected on 1, even though there was definitely a chance there to connect it onto 3, which would have been a disaster for the Radiant. Like, if that coil connects onto 3, everyone dies on the Radiant side, and the Dire probably suffer 0 casualties, I want to say, or like maybe 1 if something really weird happens. So, yeah, a lot of missed opportunities in that last fight. Starting off with a weird Earthshaker play, walking uphill blind up against like at least 4 enemy heroes that you know of is never really recommended, and Shaker, I guess, with an Echo Slam can somewhat defend himself, but you are asking to be put into a really terrible situation once you do that. But yeah, it just really didn't look like a good spot for the Radiant to be in. They were able to scrape it together, and they're going to try to go for the Queen of Pain now. Silence doesn't last too long. Coil will guarantee the kill. Spike, Fissure, doesn't really matter. Finger of Death still not up for 30 seconds, and Midori's going to come in. Or at least think about coming in. He has plus 30 damage. If he just gets a duel off onto the line, I'm pretty sure the Lion is just dead. But they can't quite see him.
Yeah, they're going to assemble up near the tier 1 mid, but now the Lion going to run over near the stairwell. Being nighttime, no ward on the high ground. Legion is unaware of where he's at. Does not make a move yet. Puck is nowhere near his blink, still needs about 600. Blink forward from Midori is going to be shot well short of the Arc Warden. And it will secure the tower though for it. Glyph is going to be popped for now, but it doesn't seem like there's going to be a full contest as the CK is top lane trying to find a trade, but they're immediately TPing in the Wind Ranger towards the top lane, and this is going to open up for the deny mid lane. The Flux comes out as well with the Fissure. Magnetic Field is there. There is the Shallow Grave though to keep him alive for now. Stun on the backlines is going to connect onto 2, but they silence up the Queen of Pain, and now Midori just going to try and TP out. They don't have enough firepower to bring her down. Orb comes through 4, but they come back with the Reality Rift. They're going to force out the phase shift as well, and that opens up for the stun. Finger of Death is there on top of the Fissure. And a bit of an odd phase shift there. Maybe you take the right click, try and phase the stun, but either way, CK able to track down that Puck in the mid lane. Not sure if they got the deny off on the tower. Yeah, it's still standing at this point in deny range.
On the Wind Ranger. Just ran into a bolt and then got beaten down. Lost all her mana also, or sacrificed that for the Lion. That's a couple of extra casualties for the Dire side in a fight that, I mean, once they miss that blink, I feel like they try to go for the initiation onto Arc Warden, which is definitely a good idea, but Legion Commander's positioning where she's just waiting on the low ground is not exactly an advantageous position because there's only a very short area around the tier 1 mid tower where you can actually blink in and grab someone. If she was closer to the Ancients up on the high ground, she would have been seen, but no, she would have also seen the Lion there, but it would have given her so many more opportunities. So just trying to be a little bit sneaky while at the same time not knowing if she was under ward vision was a little bit of a super kind of unnecessarily cautious play by the Legion Commander, and ended up costing them. They're going to try to go for the Tidehunter, at least drain his mana, but the Lion's now overcommitted. Gush and the Orb through. He's in a lot of trouble. Coil is going to stick as well as the Ravage, and the Lion should die to just one more hit. Somebody kill him off. Basic's not too healthy either. Duel's going to come in. With the evasion there, Lion's still not dying. He's Orb through will finally get a kill. Echo Slam, though, is going to get a lot of damage back onto the Dire side as the Tidehunter is stunned up. His Hood is going to hold for a little bit, but not long enough. Tower should be able to take him down, and now they're onto the Dazzle. And the Grave himself, but with a Bolt coming in, not quite going to kill, but he will die in the end. It's Burnt Nipples trying to run away with the Haste Rune. That's a lot of damage from the Puck. Got the kill, actually, of Bardens. Doesn't have any more cooldowns. The CK that'll draw a whole bunch of kills afterwards. Where the hell is this Wind Ranger? She's farming, because, you know, gold's on the bottom lane.
One of the benefits of having an Arc Warden into the Legion Commander, and the Legion Commander pick actually coming out afterwards, but, you know, jungle's so strong. They pick it into an Arc Warden, but those 2 magnetic fields there are doing a lot of work against the Legion and drawing the fight out and forcing the Dire side to encroach upon the Lion, who was so low and just so juicy looking that they end up being set up for a massive Echo Slam there. So, as you mentioned as well, not the hero you want to be giving these kills over to. Now sitting atop the net worth chart, even with the double minus and the Arc Warden, is the CK 6, 2, and 5. So great start for him sitting on level 12, and you look at the hero levels, he's right atop the board. So after feeding over quite a bit in that mid lane, this Radiant side once again seems to have a pretty firm grip on the game. They've got an Oblivion Staff on their Queen of Pain on the way to presumably what is going to be this Orchid, and Yasha on top of the armlet onto the CK. Invisibility, English rune, onto the Lion. Gonna run towards this mid lane. Doesn't have any support in downbound, but can't cancel this TP of the Legion Commander. Will do so with the Hex, and now the engagement gonna start to break out top lane. No, not really. And now Lion needs to get the hell out of here. He's gonna get blinked on and dueled, and canceling a TP is nice. Losing your life, not so much. Easy 14 damage. Going the way of that level 11 Legion Commander. So she'll be just fine with that, especially considering that they defend up the top lane tower without her.
There is probably going to be a Ravage here. There is no duel, so the Queen of Pain not going to die here. And yeah, she will just get out of here. The Radiant side really shouldn't be in too much of a rush. Like, they went pretty deep behind the top lane tier 1 tower. You can see there's an observer ward there, so they were definitely thinking about going for it. If unfortunately it is a puck, and you can't just easily dive a puck unless you have a Lion there, and well, Lion obviously had his hands tied elsewhere, so the Radiant side should just take this pretty much as slowly as possible. The Wind Ranger isn't really getting quite enough with a 1-5-3 score to really be considered a threat until, like, 40, 50 at least minutes in the game. Legion Commander is a threat in theory, but we could already see how the Arc Warden's field is dealing with that. Just drop it down, and Legion Commander's not going to do all that much. You have so many disables that you could throw into the duel, and well, just to throw into Legion Commander in general, that the list of threats on the dire side are really small. Unless Queen of Pain walks into the middle of 4 of them, then she just dies. Then then you'll die.
They're certainly looking for a numbers advantage with the blinks on the puck and the Legion Commander. So pick-off oriented more so than 5-man, definitely, as you mentioned. A lot of 5-man potential for the Radiant side, but they'll get picked off there. Meanwhile, the Basics Arc Warden will continue to keep himself safe, picks up his level 1 Necro Book, will send the Replicate up to the top lane, and has a Midas available. But now mid lane, they are going to find out the Lion, and Fisher will be there for a moment. Finger of Death, he'll finish off the puck before going down. Definitely worth at that point, and now Tide walking forward, does have a Ravage available, but doesn't see an opportune moment to be able to pop it off, and they will assemble underneath this tower. It's going to be a 4-on-3 if they continue to go forward here. And Queen of Pain, though, going to be respawning now. They need to be wary of that. She's going to TP in, has a Sonic Wave available. Fisher is going to come out onto the Tide Hunter. Not exactly the hero you always want to initiate on. Shackle is not going to last. The Flux goes out onto the Wind Ranger, but the Legion is staying nearby here. Now walks away. She's going to get slowed up. The Reality Rift is their immediate win run. Chaos Bolt comes through. There's no overwhelming odds, but yeah, jump forward. They will find him. The Ravage comes through the duel onto the Queen of Pain as well. They'll finish her off. The CK is stuck in the trees. He will finally Reality Rift out. They'll bring down the Tide. Arc Warden doing work now. The Dazzle left to his lonesome. He'll be hexed up and brought down momentarily. One more right click. Will be...
I don't think he's going to get out of here.
Coming fairly soon on the Dazzle. He has a Grave up. He wants to pop it right now. He keeps fogging the CK. Will pop the Grave. The puck is going to re-engage right into an Impale. The Fisher is there as well. The Flux. And now she will be able to phase shift the Enchant Totem. But Flux doing work. She gets echoed up. Brought down. Puck valiantly trying to save her comrade. Will die, but ends up getting the CK in the meantime. Unstoppable streak goes the way of that Puck. And she'll end up with 500 net gold for that re-engage.
This CK's life just sucks so much. He Reality Rifts, unfortunately, lands in trees where all of his other illusions are outside of the trees because, that's always how it is. He doesn't realize that he's coiled at the tail end, so, he just walks away at 100 HP and snaps it and dies. So, yeah, you gotta feel somewhat for this CK, but, if you're not armor toggling perfectly, if you're not paying attention, you kind of deserve it. The focus fire of the Dire side definitely having a lot to be desired. The Ravage is the spell where if you don't actually win the fight by the time the stun duration is over on the Dire side, then you're in a lot of trouble. And they got, I think 1 kill off of that Ravage in total, but the Ravage was placed in the middle of the fight. Everyone else was on the outskirts, so they really could have only gone for 1 target. And I think they did get the target. I'm not really sure who that was, but other than that, you need to get a lot more going than just that 1 kill. And again, this is where the problem of low damage comes in, where Legion Commander is, with all the damage in the world, but everyone else on her team, they don't actually do that much. Dazzle, even with this Poison Touch build, does pretty much no damage. Tidehunter is very disruptive, but once he pops his Ravage, that's pretty much him down the tubes as well. So they really need this Legion Commander to do absolutely everything. Even though they have the Ravage and the Coil, they can't afford to take team fights like that. They need to abuse Legion Commander's damage by taking just massive ganks instead of massive brawls.
Small skirmishes with the Puck and the Legion, and feels like a bit of a misstep early on in that engagement as well. They were backing off together, the Legion and the Wind Ranger, and as soon as the Legion leaves the Wind Ranger's side, she gets slowed up and they initiate on her, and then, as you mentioned, everyone completely dispersed from the dire side, so not really close enough together to be able to take advantage of that ravage that was nicely placed, but everyone, as you mentioned, split up from the dire side. So now with the necro books, two sets of necro books in the arc board, and they will pop the phantasm and push up towards this top lane. It'll be an easy tier 2. There is a glyph available, but actually not popped from the dire side. They're going to look for the trade from Roche. Pretty traditional trade top lane tower for a Roche. They are going to be able to find it, and more than likely will be on the Legion. She'll get herself an extra life here. Definitely understandable to be giving that to her, but in the meantime, they're already pushing into this tier 3 top. The dire side does have 3 TPs. They will pop them now. Midori is a little bit low. Overwhelming odds will be there, and no one's nearby to punish this, but get an extra life regardless. Would have been nice had they been able to just finger her and eliminate that Aegis, but either way, no one hanging around all that much. They do get a deep ward down for the Radiant side, though, up on the cliff. And worst thing about watching replays is you can't draw on the ground. It just feels so inept right now. Lux top lane on the Tidehunter.
What do you mean right now?
Well played. Well played. Pipe comes out, and they're going to turn. It's just a replicate, though. So Basic's more than willing to expend this just to piss everyone off. And we'll be able to do so. Meanwhile, just leaving the base with his main hero. Trying to get some split push done. Really wants to be able to bring down this tier 1 in the bot lane at the very least. Take away that Bastion of defense for Roshan for the dire side.
What are your thoughts on the CK's builds? I love me some Armlet. I'm going to say Armlet is a given on any CK game, but that's just me. S&Y feels really bad here compared to BKB.
BKB is definitely really good here. Blink forward mid lane. Looking for the duel. Gets fogged maybe to the high ground.
No blink, no stun from the Shaker. Just walks away.
Yeah, just casual. But Manta even better, I feel, than the Sanjin Yasha. BKB, of course, also very good here. But I mean, I think you can Manta off the damage reduction from the Tide. You can Manta dodge a Shackle as well. But BKB serves both those purposes. And yeah, I mean, like you said, there's a lack of physical damage. The Puck's damage toolkit is a lot of their damage right now. The Wind Ranger hasn't come online just yet. The Ravage is a lot of damage. Morality Rift, Chaos Strike. They do get to press the attack off, and the Shackle will latch. There is an Echo Slam up onto the Legion Commander to disjoint her initiation, and she will be brought down, but it's just the Aegis at this point. They'll re-engage with the Puck. He'll be fluxed up. The Necro unit's doing work as well. There's a Spark Wraith on the ground, and Midori has to turn tail and run. Now Shackle will latch onto 2 heroes, but silenced up immediately was the Wind Ranger. Now the Fisher gonna come out as well. Jump forward, looking for the duel is the Legion. She'll get hit with the Sonic Wave, though. Basics should go down here. Grave is there to keep her, and they do bring down Basics. She does not get the duel damage. Shackle will latch nicely once again between 3 heroes, but still no follow-up. Jump forward, Coil is going to connect onto 2. Immediate Hex reaction. Chaos Strike is there as well. The Puck is going to go down. The Queen of Pain is still alive. Reality Rift is there. There's no mana on the Wind Ranger. She can't look to kill off the Queen of Pain with a power shot. She'll jump forward with the Scream of Pain. Only the Dazzle survives. He sticks up, tries to get out of here. Is there a Reality Rift in time? No, they will not catch a glimpse of him. But either way, only the Arc Warden to go down in that mid lane. They get 3 kills and the Aegis there. And even after two hero shackles in 1 engagement, I mean, you touched upon it. There is no follow-up from this lineup.
All right, so a couple of things going on there. First of all, you're giving the Earthshaker a little bit too much credit using Echo Slam on Legion. He meant to blink in, but got canceled, and then you don't really look when that happens. You're just like, okay, blink, Echo, go, 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 and then you're like, well, shit, I didn't blink. What now? The Tidehunter was on bottom lane because, you know,
Split push Tide.
there's gold on the bottom lane. The Legion Commander was dead for like 20 seconds, then started pinging the Tidehunter out. So, you know, a classic pub plays right there. But getting into a massive 5-on-5 team fight, in quotation marks, of course, when you have no Tidehunter, makes it a 4v5, but Tidehunter in a team fight, man, counts for like 1.5 heroes. So the dire side were kind of voluntarily diving while not at their full strength, and we did see something similar from the Radiant when they were pushing up towards top with only 3 heroes. A couple of could I say rookie mistakes being made here just by fighting without everyone, trying to force situations where you really shouldn't be in the first place. Yes, you have the Aegis, but Aegis doesn't really matter when you aren't as 5 heroes and when you don't have tower damaging heroes. So pretty big blunder by the dire side, not taking that fight with their Tidehunter. And, well, Tidehunter, he has the Ravage, that's pretty much it. Usually he would have something else like a mechanism or a pipe instead of, you know, something like a Blade Mail, which is not exactly a Tidehunter item. It's pretty bad, actually, on Tide.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, I mean, great team fight hero. Just really unfortunate for the dire side just not to be present. And Basics Replicate is going to be running down the Wind Ranger in the jungle, but he will be expiring here. So Tante able to make it out of any danger. Lion has been playing very well for the Radiant side, it feels, for the most part. Jump forward. He's going to get a blink. Hex onto Bardens, but he's into a few. Immediate Fissure to disjoint the duel, though. The Echo Slime gets out as well. Magnetic Field is there in time. Midori completely screwed over. And that's going to be some raw damage going over to the Queen of Pain, who certainly can transition later on into the game to a little bit of a right-click presence. So not the hero you want to be giving that over. She gets her BKB up. That time the Echo was nice. And a good counter initiation off the Lion's initiation. He'll get the spike on the backlines. Phantasm will be popped. Reality Rift just short of range of Tante will get him off. Couple of right clicks. Dead Wind Ranger, and they will be able to right click into this tower as well. Magnetic Field going to be expended here. At least one of them. The extra right click should be an easy tower push. 30 minutes in, they can definitely look to go high ground here with a couple of Arc Wardens and the Phantasm still up. Still the Wind Ranger on the sidelines for 30 seconds. The other 3 heroes who are dead will be respawning momentarily, but this is at least a great amount of chip damage. 2 sets of Necrolooks. Phantasms here. Magnetic Field is going to be popped off the Glyph. Already used outside the base. The Weave will be popped offensively. The Orb going to come through, and seems like that's going to back them up. The Ravage completely whiffs. Now the re-engage from the Lion, but no one really nearby. Reality Rift is there. The Flux Pipe is going to be popped up. Tidehunter still feeling ballsy despite not having a Ravage. Will jump up in the front lines, pop the Blade Mail, but Coil is going to connect onto 2. CK in a little bit of trouble. He's armlet toggling. He'll Magic Stick up as well. Now he'll look to fight. Mech pop by the dire side, and the CK going to be in trouble. He's going to try and armlet toggle once again. The power shot will finish him off. He's the only casualty of war thus far, but the duel comes out onto Basics, and looks like with the Waning Rift, they will be able to bring him down. Arc Warden without the Replicate up can't quite counter up that duel if you get it off onto him, so a nice couple of kills off of the back end. They should be able to find the Lion as well. 5 seconds till his blink is up. He gets the Hex off. 2 seconds till blink. Nice spike by the Lion through 2 heroes, and he has been playing very well, all things considered, in this one, so we'll make it out of danger there. They get 2 kills off the back. It's 2 cores as well, so certainly a nice to pick up for the dire side. End up losing a tier 3. They looks like they'll get the tier 2 in trade at least while this Arc Warden is on the sideline.
That was a pretty bold play, actually, by the Tidehunter. Finally joining the fight, so, you know, kudos to him. Just pushing forward by himself, and the Radiant side with not enough damage in all the right places. That being said, this is an equally suicidal play. They are kind of clumping him. Midori's going to jump right in, actually catches the Earthshaker. There's Sonic Wave. No spike just yet. Lion is silenced. They'll take down the Earthshaker, but at what cost? Legion Commander's going to get fingered in the face. Coil does drop. That spike was okay. And they're going to kill off the puck eventually, however. That's 2 kills. And that was, again, a fight where you don't have your Tidehunter, you don't have your Ravage, and you're going into the enemies as they're respawning. They're going to lose the Dazzle on top of that. The crackback is going to be Rax's at least, unless the Radiant side do something stupid here. That was just a little bit, again, too bold from the dire side. Like, you see the enemy respawning, and you should not be in that area. You should be nowhere near that area. And, well, while we have this situation where the Radiant side are cracking back into Rax's at least, I'm going to change our mind and say Lion is maybe even the person who sent it in, because he's definitely the best player in this game.
I feel like definitely so. The Basics Arc Warden TP's up to the top lane, get a little chip damage, but he'll feed over his Necro units here in the top lane. He does have a full Radiance up, and it was a nice play from him off the back end to TP out to the front of the base and get the Flux off on the Dazzle, so they get them an extra kill on the Arc Warden. But yeah, Lion been playing close to out of his mind in this one, at least relative to the talent around him, and I think maybe the 3 candidates at this point, Legion Commander, Lion, and Arc Warden, are probably the only 3 possible. But yeah, a little bit throwy from the dire side walking up the hill there. They should have took their spoils and have been content with them, but looks like for now Poetic Justice gonna check out the Roche pit. It's still gonna be in just over a minute before Roche respawns there, and they can continue to split up the map and farm with this Arc Warden Radiance. Now they can constantly keep these lanes pushed in, and you'll see him keeping up his Replicate to the top lane, so should favor map awareness, or map control should favor the Radiant side once this Roshan is up. It gives them a couple of minutes to push these lanes out.
There's a little bit of a mistake there from the Radiant. I said several times they should have gotten Rax's at least, and they definitely should have. The Arc Warden main hero was in the jungle for some reason, because you know you're an Arc Ward and you farm. That's what you do, man, all the time. Oh, Midori, what are you doing, bro? He's gonna go into Proto-Genesis. I'm not even sure that's a fight he can win, especially with the invasion divided to by the field. He's just gonna get torn to shreds. Damage to the CK. Well, there's Raxes right there. There's your Raxes.
There goes the Legion being the candidate, right? 10-second BKB utilized. Bought out. Does not have buyback. 55 seconds on the sidelines, and yeah, this is almost looking like the beginning of the end. We talked about how little damage they have, aside from just the pucks, magic damage. Jump forward. Look how aggressive Burn Nipples is going onto this Dazzle. Orchid it up. Soulburn brings him low. Lion coming through as well. Gets the Hex off onto Barons. They will get the Sonic Wave and the Finger for good measure. And there's going to be a lane of Rax brought down in the bot lane, and why not a little BM pause, but Dire side actually pausing that one. Basically going to unpause here onto the Arc Warden. And DC's galore coming out.
The rage quit
from the Dire side. Necrobooks, Phantasm's up. Yeah, you lose a couple of kills to a team with Phantasm and 2 sets of Necrobooks, as an Arc Ward would have, as well as the Magnetic Field. You are going to lose your entire base. And that certainly seems to be the case. So 2 lanes of Rax down. Now they're going to go towards these tier 4s, and it looks like Legion Commander and the Wind Ranger are going to control their entire lineup without them being there. Tidehunter going to walk out. He's fluxed up. He's going to get the Blade Mail off. He's going to get hexed up and fed over, more or less. Watch the attack into the Ravage. Nicely played. Going for the duel onto the Queen of Pain. Couple of right clicks will secure the kill. There's an Echo Slam, though. It only connects onto 1, of course, as the Legion is BKB'd up. She'll try and get another kill. Midori needed that overwhelming odds to bring down the Earthshaker, but she'll get completely gangbanged in her own home and brought down. Basics Replicate still up. Jump forward, though, with the Dagon. Oh, yeah, that late Dagon pickup doing work for Bardens, and he's going to try and turn onto the puck here. Will phase shift the Fisher nicely, but he's a little bit too little too late. Looks like Arc Warden not too willing to buy back yet. We'll end the game probably on the respawn as opposed to just going all out and TPing back into the fray. So looks like for now they'll disengage, wait for their cores, 3 cores to respawn, and the collateral damage though has been done, and both lanes of Rax, top or bottom and middle, eliminated for the Dire side. So dire straits for the Dire side. Everyone reconnecting as well. But we'll see if MMR is scored for this matchup.
It might be a